Batman 138, Gotham War continues. So let's take a look at this comic. I'm going to review it using my space system. Story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 and 2. 2 is the best you can get. I'm going to give the storyline a 2. I'm enjoying this storyline. There is a couple of things that, it might be, I'll get to the pacing in just a moment. The story basically, of course, is that Selina's been training all of the henchmen of all of these super criminals and making them into kind of thieves that only rob from the rich and don't hurt anyone. So in theory, no innocent people get hurt, but an innocent man, or not an innocent man, one of the criminals was killed by someone. So that sparked Batman. Batman has this failsafe, which we already saw the story arc of that. And he's got like a backup personality, which is starting to take over. It's that crazy, colored Batman. I've got the figure. You can't see him here. He's I never know how to say his name. I'll just call him the alternate purple Batman. I can never pronounce. I never know how to pronounce his name. Anyways, but you know who I'm talking about. So that is come into play. So he's being sort of controlled by his own failsafe, which is if he ever goes too far, this backup personality comes in, and that's kind of what's been taking over right now. So it's not really the true Batman. Now, that is slightly irritating because it's like, well, it's Batman versus his family. So I'm not a big fan of that particular storyline in that sense, but it's handled really well, in my opinion. And it's pretty intense, so I'm pretty intrigued with what's going on. So I'm still going to give it a 2 out of 2 because, listen, it can't always be Batman just fighting the criminals. I don't mind when they change it up a little bit, as long as they do it in a good way. And they're not saying Bruce is crazy. They're just saying this backup personality is controlling him a little bit. This one particularly, we've got Jason, who was captured last time, and he's been given some of the fear gas so that if he tries to act out in a negative way, he gets scared. It's kind of like Clockwork Orange. So that's interesting. And now Damian is finally coming around to fighting. Again, a lot of people might not like this. I'll tell you right now, if you don't like the idea of the Bat family kind of having a little bit of a mini civil war, then you're not going to like the storyline. But it's handled well, so I'm still going to give it a 2. I could very easily give it a 1.5, but I'm going to give it a 2 because I am enjoying it, so I can't lie. Even though typically I don't like that kind of a thing. Pacing, I will give it a 1.5 for this issue. There could have been a bit more action. I feel like it was a lot of just discussing stuff with what are we going to do. And I think this is probably the middle issue of this series, and that typically happens, like Two Towers for Lord of the Rings, Empire, there's a lot of like talking. Now Empire still has a lot of action, and this does have some action, but again, it's the Bat family fighting themselves, which I'm not really a super fan of. But I wasn't bored at all, so I have to give it a 1.5 above average on pacing because I was not bored at all. It was pretty exciting. The art, I'm going to give it 2 out of 2, man. I like this art. I think it looks good, I mean, it's friggin', it's awesome, right? So you got to give it 2 out of 2. I like it. Batman looks good here. I like this here where, you got Tim and Damian. So a lot of good moments in the art too. I like the colors. It fits for Batman. And and there's Vandal Savage and his daughter, and there's a whole backstory with the immortality of Vandal Savage. And Ra's al Ghul is also in this, and it talks about the Lazarus Pit. So that's why I'm giving the story a 2 to go back to that. Where we at? Pacing was 1.5. Yeah, art was 2. Characters going to give it a 1.5. Again, I'm not a big fan of a Civil War type of scenario with the Batman characters, but all of the characters are very interesting. I could very easily give this a 2 out of 2 for characters, but I'm going to stick with 1.5 only because I don't like the idea of the Batman family fighting themselves. However, it's done well, and all the characters have perspectives that are interesting and unique, and I like all the Bat family. I mean, I don't know. I literally like everybody. This is one of these I would say Superman. Well, I don't care about those other characters, but you know, Superman, Superboy, Connor, like all of those, Supergirl, Kara, whatever. I like everybody. Bat Family, I like everybody. I legitimately like everybody in this comic. So yeah, and Vandal Savage is badass in this. He's pretty cool. So I got to give it 2 out of 2. Enjoyment factor, I'm going to give it a 1.5 because I did have a couple of little gripes with the way the story is kind of playing out. It could, I feel like the next issue of Catwoman where this continues, I feel the next one's got to be a banger, right? So overall, an 8.5 out of 10. I'm going to give a high recommendation in this storyline if you're okay with the premise of the Civil War. If you're not okay, then you can just skip this entire storyline. Should be done in a couple more issues anyways. You can move on to the next. I think Chip has been killing it. I never talk about the creators of comics. I like to keep it very pure on my reviews and just talk about the comic you're holding in your hand and not the people. The credits are there, so you know you're not buying the people, you're buying the book. But Chip is someone that I have been following here and there. And every time I get on one of his books, they've always impressed me in some way or another. And Batman is awesome. It got me back onto Batman, right? With this whole, as soon as he took over with that failsafe one and then that multiverse one. So I'm really liking Batman. Let me know in the comments what you thought, guys. If you're interested in these kinds of reviews, then give me a like and consider subscribing. It does help me out with YouTube. I am on Patreon. My patrons are getting a little bit early access to these videos, so I want to thank them. I appreciate you guys. You're awesome. So that is it. We do have a giveaway for October 2023, depending on when you're seeing this video. There is a giveaway, so check out that video. You know, it has to do with the Legion of Superheroes, which is a stream I do every Monday. And every Friday we do a Jack Kirby stream, and right now we're doing Jack Kirby's Fourth World. So those are the 2 set live streams. Mondays, Legion of Superheroes. Fridays is Jack Kirby. This time around we're doing Fourth World. So that's it for now. Until next time.